But the fact that Saquon would even contemplate going to play for that team in Philadelphia is insulting to his Giant history and legacy. You're going to turn into one of those people that we hate, and we don't want that.
Yeah.
We don't. Like, we'll respect you, but we'll hate you, and that's not a good thing.
Kenny C back in the saddle again, ladies and gents, to talk some football today. We've seen a free agency frenzy yesterday through today like no other. 80 some odd players were signed yesterday by the end of day one. We've seen the running back board across the league be shaken up with Saquon Barkley with a traitorous move going to Philly. Derrick Henry getting signed today to a 2-year, $16 million deal with the Baltimore Ravens. Tony Pollard went over to the Titans. DeAndre Swift went to the Bears. Joe Mixon was traded to the Texans. It has been an absolute frenzy. Aaron Jones signed with the Vikings. Josh Jacobs signed with the Packers. We've seen Kirk Cousins get a massive deal, $100 million in guarantees. Let's get into the winners and losers, the tentative winners and losers of day one and day two thus far. It's going to change. There's going to be teams that make splashes that didn't yet, or teams that have made splashes that have further improved, or maybe some teams didn't make a move at all. And I'm going to get into the winners and losers. Let's get right to it. Winners for day one and day two thus far. I'd say my first winner is the Washington Commanders. You see what first-year GM Adam Peters and head coach Dan Quinn have done already in making some splashes. They got linebacker Frank Louvu, a former Carolina Panther, signed him for a 3-year, $36 million deal. 2 forced fumbles, 5.5 sacks last year, 125 some odd combined tackles. Stud. Shored up the middle of the field with him. You stole defensive end Dorrance Armstrong from the Dallas Cowboys, inked him for a 3-year, $33 million deal. They got Tyler Biadasz, stole him from the Cowboys, the center, young center, 3 years, $30 million. Solid deal for that young man. Shoring up the offensive line for Sam Howell. He was getting housed all last season. Then they went out and they got veteran guard Nick Allegretti, former Chief, 3 years, $16 million. Austin Eckler, 2 years, $8.4 million deal. Steal for a vet running back who's dealt with some injuries but when on the field is a true dual threat. Help him out immensely with Sam Howell under center. They lost Antonio Gibson and let him walk, but he was a fumble machine. And they also got Marcus Mariota on a 1-year, $6 million deal. Solid veteran backup for Sam Howell. I think it's a W for the Washington Commanders. My next team that I think did a really good job, although it was a big blow to my team, is the Green Bay Packers. I'll run through it. Lost Aaron Jones, signed with the Minnesota Vikings on a 1-year, $6 million deal with incentives of $1 million, so pretty much a $7 million deal. 1 year. Green Bay, it was tough to see him go. He ranks as one of the all-time offensive Packers in franchise history. It was rough, but they got Josh Jacobs in return. Now, Aaron Jones, I was very upset because Aaron Jones is a much better receiving back, and we all know in today's NFL, you got to have a running back that does both. Aaron Jones epitomizes that. Last 5 games of the season last year, coming back off injury, he was electric. 100 yards on the ground in each of those last 5 games. I love Aaron Jones to death. Once the dust settled, I kind of realized the guy's going to be 29. You're not going to give him a big deal. They wanted him to take half of his salary, a friendly team discount, but he wouldn't do it. And they got Josh Jacobs. They made a splash and got Josh Jacobs, one of the best downhill runners in the game. He's only 26 years old. You got him for 4 years, $48 million, $12 million per year. About average. I think that was a really good signing by Green Bay. A really good way to make up for the loss of Aaron Jones. And then they shored up the secondary in losing Darnell Savage. I believe he signed with Jacksonville. They got Xavier McKinney. They plucked him from the Giants. 4 years, $68 million, $17 million a year, which is definitely a bit high. That's getting close to, I believe, Minkah Fitzpatrick money and Derwin James, highest paid safety in the league. So it's getting up there, but he's a versatile player. He's athletic. He second in the team in tackles on the Giants last year. Finished with 3 interceptions. He's a great player. I love the move, and I'm going to deem Green Bay as a winner after day one. Vikings also as well. They got Aaron Jones, as I mentioned. Sam Darnold, they brought him in as a stopgap quarterback. I'm sure they'll go after somebody in the draft. They brought in Blake Cashman, stud from the Texans. 5th out of 66 inside linebackers, according to PFF. Then they went out and got another Houston stud, defensive end Jonathan Grenard, 12.5 sacks last year, career high for him, 53 pressures, shored up that defense with 2 great moves. And another great move on defense, Andrew Van Ginkel from former Miami Dolphin, 2 years, 20 mil, steal for them, 6 sacks, 53 pressures. Absolute steal for the Minnesota Vikings. I think that they are definitely a winner for sure. My losers, the aforementioned team, Miami Dolphins, man, they lost a slew of players. Defensive tackle Christian Wilkins, guard Robert Hunt, Xavier Howard, their stud cornerback, Andrew Van Ginkel, as I just mentioned, Brandon Jones, their safety, linebackers Jerome Baker and Emmanuel Ogba, and Keon Crossan, their cornerback. So a lot of losses for Miami. They made up for it a bit. They got a really good deal, really good value out of Shaq Barrett. He'll be really good for them. $9 million for 1 year. They brought back Terrion Armstead, a 1-year deal, their left tackle, and they signed former Seattle Seahawks linebacker Jordan Brooks. So they made up for it a bit, but a lot of losses on the Miami Dolphins side of things. And for that reason, so far, like I said, it's tentative. Day 1 and day 2, winners and losers. So far, I deem them as a loser. My second loser here to wrap this thing up for you guys, the Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys. They've made a donut hole amount of moves, 0 signings, and they lost center Tyler Biadasz to the Commanders, the rival, 3 years, $30 million, and they lost Tony Pollard to the Titans, 3 years, $24 million with the Titans, $8 million a year, not bad at all. He's a really good pass blocking back. He's great in the passing game as well. Good receiving back. He's still young. I think it was a bit of a blow for the Cowboys to lose Tony Pollard. And now they're going to be rocking with Rico Dowell. We'll see if they make a move. I'm sure in the draft they'll do something. And then they're most likely losing Tyrone Smith. Hearing rumblings, might be to the Commanders. Plethora of Cowboy fans, or Cowboy players, excuse me, are now ending up in Washington. So that's a big blow. Hall of Fame caliber left tackle in Tyrone Smith. I know he's battled with injuries. He's getting up there in age. He's still very good. One of the premier left tackles in the game when healthy. And due to having zilch signings thus far, I'm deeming the Cowboys a loser for right now. Thank you all for bearing with me in this video. I hope you enjoyed my breakdown of winners and losers. Drop your winners and losers in the comment section and be sure to subscribe. Thank you, ladies and gents.